Okay, well, why don't we go ahead and get started? So you can find a comfortable spot, and I'm just going to take a moment here to mute everybody, just so as people come in, it's quiet. And for this evening, what I want to do for our sit is actually um, use a practice that a colleague of mine has worked with. I've She and I use it slightly differently, but so I want to give her credit. Judy Cohen, who's a mindfulness teacher, she actually teaches mindfulness to lawyers at Berkeley Law School. So I want to give her credit for the incredible work she's doing there. So what we're going to do is we're just going to use an acronym that she uses to teach mindfulness. But I found that actually the acronym works for us to deepen into essence. And so it just kind of gently unwinds us to get into a space of essence. And since we're exploring all these different ways to access essence and work with essence, I thought tonight would be a nice time to introduce this acronym. So the acronym is GROUND. So grounding yourself. And just think of it as grounding yourself. And you don't have to write down the words. I'll make sure that I say them again after we come out of the sit. I'll go ahead and do that. So just find a comfortable spot. And if you would like to lay down, feel free to do so. Just always put a pillow or bolster under your knees so that your lower back drops and you'll be more comfortable. And you can just begin by just taking a moment to just notice how you are in this moment. Just, oh, the day showed up like this, and body, heart, and mind are like this. And again, we hold a very gentle attitude. Conditions are such for today, and soon they will be different, for everything is temporary. And so in using this acronym for ground or grounding, I'm going to use the word ground tonight. I ask you or invite you to just begin by letting yourself ground to the floor. So just letting your feet really feel the support of the floor, or letting your bottom feel the support of the cushion. And so you're just grounding to the floor and grounding to the earth. And it just pulls us out of our head and down into our body to just feel what's real beneath us, that we're actually held, we're supported. And just notice what that's like when you let yourself rest on the floor or let yourself be supported by the ground or the earth. Notice what shifts or releases. How your body shows up. And then R. R is for rest. Let yourself rest here for a moment. You can always pick up your busyness later, but for just now, feeling the support of the floor and just resting. Letting go of your day, your worries, and your to-do list as much as you can. Rest. And just notice what lets go, what softens. And then we come to O, which is open. Allow yourself to open, to be open and curious. So we're supported, we're resting, we're restful. And we allow ourselves to open, like a flower opens to sunlight. Letting our attention be curious. Just a curious attitude, relaxed and curious. And then the U is for unclench. Unclench your jaw or your back, any place where you're holding tension. So we open ourselves to the world and we let go of any holding or bracing we're holding. And energy can just rise off our body or flow out of our hands or feet. No need to hold on to that extra energy. And notice anywhere else you might be clenching. And just letting yourself unclench and soften. If you like, you may breathe some comforting breath into that space to help it soften. Or breathe out the tension on the out breath. And so we're supported by the ground, We allow ourselves to rest. We open ourselves, letting ourselves be curious and interested. And we unclench anywhere where there's bracing. Breathing out the tension. We're simply softening and allowing that energy to flow out of us, out of our feet or hands, or it may rise as heat off our body or out the top of our head or back. And with this softening and opening, we come to N, which is notice. Notice the world. From this open, relaxed vantage point. Simply being open and flowing. No grasping or clenching. Quiet, open space. Simply noticing the world. And finally, D, dancing. Letting yourself just dance with the world. Notice the meeting of you and the world. No stories. Just pure experience. in this grounded, restful, open, relaxed noticing. You're simply being with sound, sensation, in a dance. Interested, soothing, engaged. Oh, it's like this when I'm available and open to the world. Another gateway to our essence. So maybe that gave you another gentle way of coming home to yourself. For those of you who want to write that down, it was just G for ground, grounding to the floor or earth. R is for rest. O is for open and curious. U is for unclench, particularly in your jaw, your back. And that's where you begin to let the energy flow more, be more with your sensations. N is notice the world. So the noticing is restful, open, and flowing. And D is dance. Allow your energy, yourself, to begin to just dance with the world. Just, you may flow or rock. You may notice energy moving up to meet the world. So this is a more engaged version of essence as opposed to last week when we did the one who watches, the one who sits back and watches. And again, this is a very gentle, soft kind of opening. So, over the last month, I was asked if I would focus on essence, and so we did for the month of May. And today's our last night for essence focusing. And we started off with noticing essence as a refuge, kind of as the eye of the hurricane. And then we did essence as freedom. That's when we're in the zone, we're playing, we're joyful, we've forgotten ourselves. Quite beautiful in that movement. And then last week we did essence as strength, the one who watches, the one who sees clearly and can handle the world. This week, what I wanted to talk about was essence engaged with the world, essence in that dance with the world, and knowing essence on a deeper level, being able to begin to explore deeper nuances of what essence is and coming to have a much deeper relationship with it. So to do this, what we're going to touch in tonight is when we're playing with essence more in stillness and relationship and engagement, and we get to see its deeper power and its many nuances. There's many ways to access this way. The first one I want to name is that oftentimes we come into this relationship or these explorations of essence through surprise often. So it's not something we plan. Sometimes it just appears out of nowhere. And that can happen like you're just going about your day and maybe you look at a light and you see like an aura around the light, or you see something different that you haven't seen before. It might be something like you turn your head and the view got really skewed for a moment, like something was very different and you're like, what was that? What just happened there, right? Another one that happens is sometimes you can hear a sound under the sounds. So you might hear music playing, or you might hear sounds or voices or chants or something underneath the everyday sounds. And you're like, what is that? Like, what's going on? Can you hear that music? You might ask your friend, do you hear music? I hear music somewhere, right? Something like that. Or you sense a presence. You're just going about your day and all of a sudden you sense a presence. You sense something more in the room or more around you than normally. And these often happen, the surprise ones often happen in moments of when the veil thins a little bit. And I think of that as happening sometimes like on vacation when you've gone into a really deep, deep relaxation. Like, you get to vacation, you're exhausted, you fell asleep for like the first 2 days. And there's in that deep letting go that the veil thins and you might notice something else. The other way it happens is in deep exhaustion, like when there's challenges. Sometimes people will say, I was at the end of my rope, and then suddenly I had this experience that was really powerful for me. So that's when it happens, like in the surprise moments. And I found this beautiful word called, it's a Welsh word called hirith. And I just want to read it because I came across a feed that I was looking at. And I thought, oh yeah, this is speaking to it. So hirith is a spiritual longing for home, like spiritual home. It's nostalgia for ancient places of your soul. And you can even hear it in those words, nostalgia for ancient places in your soul. It is where the wind, or it is in the wind, in the rocks, in the waves. This is how it's described. It is nowhere and it is everywhere. I love that. It's that idea of hirith, that when we see this happen in the world, our heart responds. There's something familiar about it. It's like, oh, there is a sense of home. There's a sense of longing. There's a sense of something calling to us deeper. Yeah? But beyond those surprise moments, we can also cultivate our ability to practice there as well. And that happens when people have a dedicated spiritual practice or meditation practice, yoga practice, something like that. Um, or you go on some kind of retreat. And that sets up all the same conditions where we let go of the world, we get really still, we get grounded, and then with this quiet attention, we start to notice things we don't often notice. And so that's where we start to play with essence at a much broader, deeper level. And we get to see some things that aren't readily available to our everyday, normal, busy consciousness. So I wanted to just play with that tonight, to just give you two little doorways that you can play with, and just see what happens for you. And one thing I want to say is, if tonight, you find it difficult to deepen, let's say your mind is very busy with a lot of things today, to just relax about that. And I always record these. You can always come back later when there's a quieter time in your day or your weekend or something. And you can take time to play with it then when you have more quiet and more space. But I'm just going to walk us through it this evening two ways. And the two ways I want to play with it is one in the body, in our own body, and then the other is with the world. So go ahead and get comfortable. We're going to do body exploration first. I'm reminded of the words that I heard of the Buddha once that said, everything you need for your own enlightenment, your own freedom, can be found in your own body. So let's just play with this a little bit. So go ahead and close your eyes. And the attitude that we're practicing here is very gentle, open, and soft, just kind of like we did with the grounding. It's a very kind of open and sitting back, not a concentrated kind of attention. It's much more soft, open attention. And so just take a couple of breaths just to kind of clear out the words and the noise. And just arrive here. Allowing yourself, just like we did in the grounding, letting yourself be supported by the ground or the earth. Allowing yourself to rest for a moment. And just opening. If you notice any place that's tight, just taking a moment to unclench. Maybe breathe some comfort into that spot. Let it release. And then I'm going to ask you to notice a place in your body where there is sensation, but sensation that is more consistent. So not like a throbbing pain, but more like the sensation in your hands or your back. One that I like to use is the sensation of the edge of my body, the outline of my body. Something that's a little consistent, that's just there. And you can go ahead and just begin very gently, not with a lot of push, just very gently breathing into that sensation. letting it get as big as it wants. Again, no need to grow it. We just allow it. And you're just letting the sensation come alive, letting it become dynamic. Noticing its tingling or its movement, its vibration. And allow this. Begin to let it flow and carry you. This is much like the dancing in the ground meditation. Sensation is flowing and carrying you. And all you're doing is letting it carry you, and you're just noticing. Notice its qualities. Might be comforting or peaceful or flowing like a river. This is the energy of essence as sensations. Simply essence as sensations. Old familiar friend. And as you're letting it carry you, you may just gently study it, just noticing, oh, it's like this. You might notice what the energy does in interactions with the world. as you notice sound or signals inside. 90% of your attention is just on the flowing sensations. Breathing with it, allowing it to carry you. And just 10% on the world or other things. In doing this, we're studying our own life force. Normally, we don't pay attention to this. Thoughts and formations may come in. And we just notice what the energy does. We let them go. We're just being with one of the deepest parts of ourselves. Feeling what it's like to be flowing, carried by sensation. So you can let go of that one and just gently bring yourself back to the room. And just notice how your system is right now, just having been in touch just with your own body, your own processes this deeply. You may feel relaxed or at ease. You might be interested and surprised at what you saw. Might have been difficult to track at that level. But again, that's usually because our mind is busy. So you can try it at a time when you're more relaxed. Chances are you'll notice more. And so now I want to show you one other way, another gateway for you to play with. And we've touched this one before a little bit, but I'm just going to take it a little more deeply tonight. And that's just accessing essence in the world. Kind of, we can do it in our own body, but we can also do it with everything around us. It can be really quite beautiful and magical wherever we are, but particularly in nature, places like that. So I'm just going to invite you to go inside one more time. Again, just a short little practice, just so you have it for yourself. And again, some of these you'll love and some won't resonate at all. And my hope is that you just pick what works for you. So again, same thing. I hear a lawnmower. So I apologize for that. Might have to use the lawnmower. So again, this is just with a soft, open, gentle attitude. It's kind of a stepping back and just softly noticing the world. And this time, rather than noticing your own body kind of going down and in, this time I'm going to invite you to just notice the room around you, the space around you, that which is outside of you. And this isn't like a thinking exercise, it's more like a feeling or a sensing. And so I'm going to ask you to just sense how you feel the room or notice the room. And you may notice the room itself, or you may notice space. I feel space. Or you may sense it as presence, like I can feel something. I can feel a field of energy outside of myself. However you notice it is fine. There's no particular right way. And with this, we do the same practice. You know, it may be a sound that you notice. You could also do that if you like. And again, just invite you to gently begin breathing into it, breathing with it. And so you're just in contact with this, engaged with it. And again, letting it get as big as it wants. No need to grow it. Just allowing this experience to unfold. And the presence may get bigger or stronger. That's okay. And notice what qualities this space has. It may feel very vast and spacious, or may feel very intimate. There's no right answer, it's just how it is in this moment. May feel peaceful or quiet. You may notice that it's dynamic, that it has movement or energy. Or that there's a sense of presence. Reflecting on these qualities, this is just essence, bigger. The same friend, the same energy. And I invite you to let yourself now melt into the world, much like we did with our body when we were just carried by sensation. Just allow yourself to melt into the world. and let yourself be carried. Flowing with sounds, the wind or the breeze, the temperature. Open, relaxed, just melting into the world. Doing this, we allow ourselves to notice new things. Meeting the world engaged, dancing with the world, flowing with the world. Allowing what is. Knowing ourselves in a new way. And so you can just gently bring yourself back to the room. And so I just want to take a moment, maybe just check in with a couple of people and just notice, what was that like? Kind of going down and in, and then kind of going out towards the world in an engaged way. And you can unmute yourself.
I just want to share. This is a practice that I really practice with. And I'm always just struck by how they're not separate practices, the two that you're sharing.
Yeah.
And what I was struck by tonight was just opening to space and how that activates my heart. And how that activates a sense of just deep gratitude and appreciation and like awe and sometimes bliss. You have to be in the right state, but that's really what was coming up for me. It's like holding both. This feels like such a powerful synergy or
Mm-hmm.
something that happens. And um, yeah, thank you. It's such a good practice. So
Yeah, you're welcome. And we do notice how we end up in the same place, right? And we're like, oh wait, this is essence again. Wait, this is essence again, right? And so um, it all becomes familiar. It all becomes this friend. Like, oh, I've been here before. Oh, I know this. Oh, I can relax here. And so there is this beautiful synergy of where it all starts to kind of come together. You're right. And, when I was talking about the three blind men and the elephant, right? It's like, oh, it's the same elephant. I grabbed the trunk one time, I grabbed the ear one time, I was engaged with the eye one time. And oh, wait a minute. I'm starting to see the love and the joy that is possible when I just keep relaxing into this. So that's beautiful. Thanks. Yeah. Other people or other experiences. And again, we all have very different places in our life, different experiences with it, whether it works, doesn't work, you know. Other thoughts or sharings?
I really liked the feeling of the boundaries of your body. That
Mm-hmm.
really got me in touch with some things I hadn't experienced before.
Oh,
Great
beautiful.
technique. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's beautiful. Yeah. Going in through your own sensations. It's like, wow, that feels so awesome. I hadn't felt the boundary of me before. It feels really safe and awesome to touch into that. Yeah. Great. Okay. So the beauty of this practice is, there's many, many gateways, many ways, and we each find our own way of what works for us. For some of us, it's sitting down and going still into our body. For others of us, it happens when we're out in nature. We feel more connected to our essential nature, or we're skiing down a mountain, something like that. Um, and so there's countless, countless ways, countless doorways. I hope that in this month, what I was showing you was just a few of them, scattered in kind of different zones so that you could find something that works for you. And the more you play with this, the more friendly and comfortable it becomes, the more of a refuge of strength and ease and comfort. Um, and then we start to open to the dynamics that are possible out of that ease and comfort. And that is that we end up experiencing much more joy, compassion, playfulness. We stop, as we expand our understanding of who we are, rather than being, oh, I'll just make something up, rather than I'm being Maureen who's scared in, I'm a scared little 4-year-old in this moment. I start to see all these other possibilities, all this other new information about who I am that traditional world doesn't point to. And so we end up, as we widen our perception of who we are, we're less impacted by the day-to-day stressors because we don't believe ourselves to be this small little person anymore. We can access our essence. We can get in touch with our essence. We can find that quiet, right? We know how to enter the sound or enter our sensation. And that's really powerful. For instance, entering sensation is very powerful at some point if you ever have to contend with chronic pain or illness or an injury. Knowing how to be able to go into pain and work with it and have it become energy and essence is a completely different experience than being battered by pain, right? We actually engage our own healing. We engage our own release. And we have a lot less suffering than we would in our ordinary mind. So I hope that this is of service to your practice and your explorations. And next week we'll change and I don't know, we'll start doing some other things out in the real world. We'll start coming back to the real world out there, whatever they call that, ordinary consciousness, and how we can work with ourselves in the ordinary relative realm. let me see. If these teachings or practices are helpful to you and they serve you, I welcome your support. Um, you can go to maureenfallonseer.com and make a donation, or, if you want to contact me in some way, my address is there. And so I welcome your support as I do this work and unfold different ways to teach this in accessible ways for people. So let's just take a moment to share our intention here, because there's a lot of hirith, right? That Welsh word. There's a lot of longing in the world, people longing to come home. So let's just share our intention. Maybe it'll spread out to them a little bit. So may the practices that we engage in here, the practice that we do in our own life, may it support and ground us in our own essence and essential nature, so that we come to know ourselves much more broadly and deeply, and that we become skillful with living. And may the good of this and the peace of this ripple out beyond us to those we touch in the world. And may all beings come to know these practices. May the wisdom of these sharings touch all lives so that they can have peace and joy and less suffering in their life. So I hope you guys have a wonderful week, and take care, and thank you for sharing and your kind attention.